I'm going to share with you today the largest scandal in the United States Navy, and chances are you have never heard about it. And the name of the scandal is Fat Leonard. Now, the reason I am sharing this with you is because this is still an ongoing investigation. It's been ongoing for the past 15 years or so, and people are still going on trial, and there are active investigations that are still underway. And the reason I am bringing this to you is because the location in Singapore is where I served, and that was the last duty station that I served, having retired in 2005. So the scandal broke in 2006. It involved officers that were part of the command that I was assigned to. I knew one of the officers. The other officers that were caught up into the scandal had arrived after I had left, so they would have relieved officers that I worked with. And it wasn't limited to officers, and we're talking admirals and captains and commanders and lieutenant commanders and even a foreign Australian officer and Navy enlisted personnel and civilians. It also included the bribery of a NCIS agent to squash any investigations. Now, who is this Fat Leonard? Well, his name is Leonard Francis. He is a Malaysian national. He had a company that was based out of Singapore. It was not part of our command. However, he was the CEO, and his job or his company would schedule and provide ship port services to all Navy ships in 7th Fleet. So, for example, sailors need liberty, right? So when a battle group schedules a port visit, say for example in Manila, Philippines, it requires port services in order to transport waste off the ship or schedule the unload of food and supplies, or even liberty barges that are needed to get the crew to shore and back to the ship, as well as other services such as fuel. So what Fat Leonard did was he began bribing these naval officers that were in key positions that were able to give him ship schedules. So a ship schedule for a port visit or anywhere it deploys is classified, and they do not declassify it until the last minute. It becomes public information. And once it becomes public information, then the people that provide port services will submit a bid to the United States Navy. Now, Fat Leonard, by having the schedule in advance, would already prepare his bid, and he would jump on it, pounce on it, and he became a known vendor within 7th Fleet. So he was the go-to guy. So he kind of built his company based on that. In addition, at the end of the port visit, and this is ultimately how he got caught, he would overcharge the United States Navy for services that were never provided. And he got caught by a few sharp supply officers out there doing their due diligence in reviewing the charges, and they brought it to the attention of NCIS that, hey, this guy is billing for services not provided. And those would not go anywhere because this agent that he bribed would ensure that those investigations did not go anywhere. And he was able to squash a few investigations that way, and it went on for a number of years. To date, if you were to look at the Google Wikipedia page, 31 individuals have been tried and convicted, and it is unknown how many hundreds are still under investigation. Fat Leonard was tricked into coming to the United States, where he was subsequently arrested, and he became a fugitive from justice. He escaped his nice house. That's where they kept him in San Diego. and by renting a U-Haul truck and just running away. So he made it all the way down to Nicaragua before they caught him trying to board a plane to Russia. And they brought him back to the United States, where he still sits awaiting trial. And he's also a witness in upcoming trials against the officers that he identified to investigators as being involved in his corruption scandal. So admirals, captains, commanders, easily corrupted. And what would Fat Leonard do? Well, he would buy them dinners. He would buy their wives' purses and jewelry. He would buy them plane tickets. He would pay for their hotel suites. He even went so far as to okay, so this is kind of hard, right? Just to imagine. But he had a carousel of prostitutes, and he called them SEAL Team Sex, not six, but sex, S-E-X. And these were Thai prostitutes from Thailand that he would fly throughout, the Pacific, so that they could, rendezvous with these corrupt officers, so that they can enjoy the company of a prostitute, while Fat Leonard is paying for their hotel suites and also picking up their tab. On one such occasion, 3 officers were at a hotel in Manila where they desecrated some artifacts from MacArthur. They drained the hotel of their Dom Perignon, and they enjoyed a carousel of prostitutes, all paid for by Fat Leonard. And that's not me saying it, that's inside the report. So the bribery was just off the charts. The fact that naval officers, especially admirals and captains, commanders, could be so easily bribed to hand over classified ship schedules is just beyond the pale, and something that I really, if you were to say that happened, I would say, what, fiction book did you get that out of, right? It's just so large. So why hasn't 60 Minutes run a story on this? Well, I think the Navy's in damage control, and they've been in damage control for the past 15 years, and no investigative body is willing to air this on TV. They do not want the American people to see the level of corruption that this achieved, and the fact that it is still an ongoing investigation demands answers. Why is it taking so long? And who has been investigated? Who has been cleared? Who is still under investigation? All of that needs to be vetted. I remember when Tailhook went down, it was like a year and it was over. They had identified and withheld the promotions of officers from Tailhook. And 60 Minutes, I believe, went in and ran an investigative story on that. And Americans got to know what Tailhook was all about. So that's just not happening here. So that is my story. By the way, Singapore, a great place to be. I served with remarkable men and women on that staff, and none of them, except for one, got involved while I was there. And he was a operations guy. They tried and convicted, and he's already served his 2 or 3 years. And talk about a way of ending a naval career, right? I believe he was retired already before they got him. So anyway, this is the Cold War sailor, and that ends the story. Out.